But they're ridiculous. They want it both ways. You know, you can't be, these people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention. And then they just strike me as creatures of that generation. You know, you're just fragile. You know, just take a hint from the Queen.
We're not highnesses. No humans are higher by birth. It's gross.
The Duchess thought she could cook up a cozy comeback with her new Netflix show, but now it looks like she might want to step out of the kitchen. Because Bill Maher just turned up the heat, the show promised recipes and connection, but what viewers got was a masterclass in self-importance served with a side of passive aggression. Critics are calling it a cringe fest disguised as comfort food. Forget soufflés and spice rubs, this was all about Meghan reminding us how hard it is to be royal adjacent in a $14 million Montecito mansion. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, Bill Maher swooped in and said what everyone else was too polite or too terrified to say. First, he denied even associating with the couple in the first place.
Have you been hanging out with Meghan and Harry since they've been in California?
No, I don't know them.
He slammed the couple's never-ending contradiction, begging for privacy while turning their lives into a public spectacle. They have books, interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and now a cooking show that's basically a TED Talk with hors d'oeuvres. Maher mocked the hypocrisy sharply and made one thing clear: you can't cry about attention and then sell your trauma on a silver platter. He also gave Harry a respectful nod for his military service.
I admire Harry for going to Afghanistan. Anybody who's had military service, I can only criticize so much because I haven't. And there's nothing that compares to military service.
But made it clear that whatever goodwill existed was long gone, thanks to their poor us media circus. Because let's face it, when you spend years saying the spotlight destroyed you, then literally launch a 6-part Netflix docuseries and brand-heavy cooking show, people will talk. And then he really twisted the knife. They just strike me as creatures of that generation, he said, and then continued to call them fragile. He also added, "You're complaining about your hard life and you're so privileged. It's just so weird."
You're complaining about your hard life and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous.
Weird indeed. Especially when Meghan's new Netflix therapy in an apron series includes correcting celebrity guests over her name. In one moment that had the internet collectively cringing, guest Mindy Kaling casually referred to Meghan by her former name, Meghan Markle. This happened while they were chatting about fast food and childhood nostalgia. But instead of laughing it off or rolling with it like most people would, Meghan stopped the convo mid-giggle to drop a royal correction. She said, "It's so funny that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now."
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now.
Okay, who corrects someone for using their actual name? Especially when that name is the one you used to build your brand. Social media lit up with reactions, with one commenter writing, "So now we're not even allowed to say Meghan Markle? Does she think she's Madonna now?" But the strangest part is that Meghan's not even legally changing her name. Meghan made the name switch comment while talking about her 2 kids, Archie and Lilibet, who both carry the of Sussex title.
And you go, no, I share my name with my children.
Yes.
And that feels so, I didn't know how meaningful it would be to me, but it just means so much to go.
She explained that she wanted to share the same last name as her children. Sweet? Maybe. But the delivery was peak performative Meghan.
An episode and a half of With Love from Meghan. Thank you, Mike.
I'm very sorry for you. I didn't ask you to do that, but I really appreciate that you've watched it so that nobody else has to.
According to insiders, that throwaway comment was anything but innocent. Radar reports that Prince William was furious when he caught wind of Meghan's insistence on being called Sussex instead of Markle. It irritated William beyond belief. A royal source spilled. He sees it as yet another calculated move, another ego trip, and frankly, another slap in the face. But William's frustration doesn't stop there. Apparently, he's also deeply unhappy with King Charles for refusing to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles altogether. According to palace insiders, William believes that allowing them to continue styling themselves as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is a betrayal of the firm's values. And he's not alone. Royal commentator Jenny Bond didn't mince words either. She told the Mirror the remark felt icy and intentional. She could have just paused filming and privately corrected her guest, Bond noted. The timing of it all couldn't be worse. Meghan Meghan's been pulling out all the stops to rebrand herself post-Megasit. This means being less Duchess and more digital lifestyle diva. With her new 8-episode Netflix series packed with wellness tips, she's clearly trying to scrub Markle from the public's memory and serve up Sussex as a standalone brand. Instead of applause, though, Meghan's getting roasted. Again, conservative firebrand Megyn Kelly didn't hold back, torching the show as superficial, overly curated, and dripping with insecurity. She labeled Meghan the most insecure person in Hollywood, calling her obsession with optics exhausting to watch.
She doesn't, and she is the most insecure person I have seen in the public eye in a long time.
Let's start with the Netflix disaster itself. In With Love, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, tried to serve viewers a piping hot dish of warmth, domestic bliss, and relatability. What we got instead was a painfully staged performance.
Everything has to be around her. Her outfit, I mean, who the hell picks berries in a white cashmere blouse and white pants? Literally no one on earth does that.
There's even a point when Meghan lovingly removes store-bought snacks from their original packaging and places them in dainty little cellophane bags, as if that was the kind of life hack anyone needed. Viewers didn't feel seen. They felt smothered by beige linen napkins and overly curated lighting.
I'm not sure who the target audience is. I can promise you, Andrew, that it's not me. It is so contrived.
And so when the show finally aired, Megyn Kelly just couldn't hold back. She saw the absurdity and ran with it. In a jaw-dropping spoof titled With Love, Meghan recreated the infamous snack scene with brutal precision. Microwave popcorn! It's so simple! Only the lazy people don't do this, Kelly said as she and her guest, Daily Mail columnist Maureen Callahan. Together, they repackaged food into cellophane bags, straight up mimicking Meghan's now infamous moment. The internet lost its mind. Critics who once rolled their eyes were now belly laughing. Kelly's version felt more grounded and authentic than the show it mocked. And when a parody hits harder than the polished product it's mimicking, you know the original missed the mark badly. But Meghan's snack-stuffed fall from grace didn't end there. Once hailed as royal rebels carving out a new life in the land of the free, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had America eating out of the palm of their hand. They were fresh, they were bold, and they were the couple who escaped the palace walls to find freedom in California. But fast forward to January 2022, and that shiny love affair with the American public started to rot. The turning point was one explosive, tell-all book titled Spare. With Prince Harry bearing all, the glossy fairy tale turned into a jaw-dropping melodrama. The result was bad.
Viewers, but the reviews are in, and they're not great for poor Harry. Woke Bible The Guardian savages it as a flawed attempt to reclaim the marriage.
A poll by Newsweek showed the Sussexes' popularity nosedived into the red zone, with more Americans disapproving of them than cheering them on.
And in the past month, public opinion in support of Harry has dropped 45 points in the States, while Meghan's has dropped 36 points. And according to this Newsweek,
the golden couple had officially become tabloid catnip and primetime punchlines. It wasn't long before US comedians began circling like sharks. First came the late-night jesters, Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, who poked fun at Harry's bizarre memoir revelations. Then came the big guns. Saturday Night Live, Chris Rock.
We love American telly. My brother's fiancée, Miss Meghan Markle, is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m, USA Network. Check it out. She's amazing in it. Yeah.
And the one that truly left a mark, South Park. And this is where the worldwide privacy tour comes into the story. The 2023 South Park episode tore into Harry and Meghan with cartoonish precision, painting them as hypocrites storming around the world demanding privacy.
For our first guest, the prince and his wife. We want privacy! We want privacy!
It was hysterical, and it was exactly what millions were already whispering. Piers Morgan called the episode a masterpiece, adding that it summed the couple up perfectly. And honestly, it did. As the animated Harry and Meghan ran from spotlight to spotlight while screaming for peace and quiet, America couldn't stop laughing. But Meghan, not so much. Sources told The Spectator that the Duchess was upset and overwhelmed by the episode, reportedly annoyed by South Park, but refuses to watch it all. What did this really mean? She knows it hit a nerve, but she's not about to admit it. Behind the scenes, things got tense. A royal commentator stirred the pot by claiming that Harry and Meghan's legal team was casting an eye over the episode. They were quietly combing through the satire for anything potentially sinister that could be turned into a legal matter. According to royal reporter Neil Sean, the couple weren't planning to take the joke in stride. But let's get one thing clear. South Park played it smart. The episode opened with a cheeky disclaimer stating that all characters were fictional, even if they were very clearly modeled after real-life figures. In this this case, the prince and his wife weren't technically called Harry and Meghan, but the resemblance was as subtle as a royal procession through Hollywood Boulevard. From the outfits to the accents, it was obvious who the animated duo was meant to be. The fictional couple was dubbed Canadian royalty, and their royal retreat to a quiet town for privacy quickly spiraled into a parade of publicity stunts.
So you hate journalists? That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right.
In one scene, they appear on Good Morning Canada, loudly demanding to be left alone, while promoting the prince's new memoir, hilariously titled Wah.
You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Wah.
Of course, this was a not-so-subtle slap at Prince Harry's real-life bestseller Spare, but the real sting came from how Meghan's animated counterpart was portrayed. The wife character, dressed in Markle's signature looks, was labeled a sorority girl, actress, influencer, and victim. The satire was savage, and the message crystal clear. Stop selling your story if you don't want the spotlight. It only gets wilder from there, though. The show's host, without pulling a single punch, grills the cartoon prince about his wife's public antics. Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines?
Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines? What are you suggesting?
Now, this was a savage nod to Meghan Suit's past and her ongoing Hollywood hustle, but the gloves come off when he bluntly swears and says that it looks like Harry's Instagram-loving wife doesn't want her privacy.
Well, I just think some people might say that your Instagram-loving wife actually doesn't want her privacy.
Harry's character went completely ballistic.
How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy! And you know what else? To hell with Canada! We are...
It was outrageous, and it was peak South Park. And while Meghan may be curled up somewhere refusing to watch it, there's one royal who's probably loving every second, Prince William. According to a well-placed palace insider who spoke on Good Morning Britain, the Prince of Wales might not be a South Park viewer himself, but friends are likely making sure he's seen the clip. And word is, he probably couldn't help but crack a wry smile. After all, watching his estranged brother and sister-in-law get publicly roasted, especially after all the drama and bombshell interviews, must feel like payback. But the criticism didn't end there. What began with familiar voices on the political right soon expanded into a wider conversation across mainstream media. At first, the criticism came from the usual suspects. Conservative firebrands like Donald Trump, Megyn Kelly, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham wasted no time branding the couple as fame-hungry and ungrateful. But here's the thing, those voices were just the opening act. What followed, especially after Spare hit bookshelves and the Harry and Meghan Netflix docuseries dropped, was a tidal wave of critique from the American mainstream. Bill Maher, known for skewering both sides of the political aisle, added his voice to the growing skepticism. He didn't just poke fun at Harry and Meghan's Netflix antics or their relentless brand building. He openly admitted he wasn't buying all of Meghan's claims from the explosive Oprah interview. Sure, he didn't question the serious stuff, especially the part where Meghan said the royal family was concerned about her child's skin color.
And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
Maher made it clear he believes the racism allegations Meghan dropped like a royal bombshell during that now iconic Oprah interview. But when Meghan claimed she had no idea what she was getting into when dating Prince Harry, that's when Maher called BS and did it in classic biting Maher fashion. He mocked her story about being totally clueless about the royal family, saying she must have thought she was dating Ed Sheeran on those first few dates. Even more people pointed out that the interview was done in bad taste.
The Oprah Winfrey interview was the thing that turned me off them immediately because...
And as if that wasn't savage enough, Maher reminded the world that Meghan filmed Suits in Toronto for years. That means every coffee run involved paying with coins that had her literal future grandmother-in-law's face on them. Then Maher dug deeper. He dragged the endless public drama between Meghan and Kate, poking fun at the obsession over who made who cry. "Tell me now," he joked, "so I know who we're not talking to at lunch." After torching their endless complaints and questionable claims in earlier segments, Maher circled back for round 2, and this time he brought backup. Joined by Larry Wilmore and Scott Galloway, Maher dug deep into the glittering nonsense of monarchy itself. And let's just say, he didn't mince words. He reminded everyone of a moment back in January 2020, right before the pandemic exploded. This was when Meghan and Harry first dropped their bombshell about stepping back from royal duties. Back then, Maher had already clocked the hypocrisy. And then came the line that had jaws dropping.
And the next time someone curtsies or bows and scrapes before you or calls you Your Highness, stop them and say, "We feel ridiculous being called that."
People calling each other Your Highness? What could be less woke than that? Maher said. He even called out the supposed woke people who weren't calling Meghan and Harry out for this. Honestly, he's got a point. How can you preach equality while clinging to titles built on centuries of not being equal? But Maher wasn't done. He flashed a screenshot of a headline from The Wrap showing coverage of his royal rant from 2020. And then, like the next day, he said, "They did it. I thought, oh well, they heard me." Now, in the meantime, Larry Wilmore also decided to give his 2 cents on the whole thing. Kicking off with a head-turning statement, comedian Larry Wilmore didn't dance around the controversy that rocked Buckingham Palace. The question about baby Archie's skin color. 1,000%, absolutely, he said, practically rolling his eyes. Not only did someone say that, they were all thinking it. But then, just when it couldn't get more blunt, professor and entrepreneur Scott Galloway joined the roast with deadpan delivery. A white guy's 100-year-old grandparents who hunt stags and Range Rovers have a racial bias? That's news, he said. This was followed by Maher, who himself stepped in to call out the selective outrage of American royal watchers. For everyone yelling about racial bias in the royal family, he said, there are other royal families in the world, but Americans only seem to be obsessed with the white one. Now, if anyone thought Meghan Markle had moved on from palace life, think again. Because lately, the Duchess of Sussex is giving off serious ex-girlfriend vibes. Back in 2020, Meghan and Harry packed up their royal lives, waved goodbye to official duties, and headed for California. The deal was clear. They'd keep their Duke and Duchess titles, but the HRH style, they were off limits. Queen Elizabeth made that crystal clear. No, Her Royal Highness if you're not working for the crown. But Meghan has been playing a very different game. It started with a seemingly sweet social media moment, a screen grab of a letter from a Ukrainian official who referred to her as Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Then came the gift basket. Meghan's new lifestyle brand, As Ever, sent strawberry preserves to podcaster Jamie Kern-Lima. But it wasn't the jam that got people talking. It was the handwritten note signed, "With the compliments of H.R. Keach, the Duchess of Sussex."
All of a sudden, you dropped off this gift basket with ice creams, homemade strawberry sauce to put on top of the ice cream.
Now, the truth, it seems, is slowly coming back up to the surface. Meghan Markle may have left the palace, but the palace hasn't left her. The titles, the prestige, the pomp, it's clear she's still hooked. And while she builds jam brands and Netflix shows, she's still hanging on to the HRH like it's the last bit of relevance she'll ever have if she's no longer part of the royal family. Meanwhile, William sees right through it. And you best believe he's furious. Insiders say he's had enough of the Sussexes using royal gloss to sell jam and stage comebacks. And insiders say he has no intention of letting both Harry and Meghan keep their titles once he gets the power.